At 400 yards, you can see the barricade and watchtower are inhabited, but at this distance, the faces you can see are only lines of small pink dots on the walls. At 300 yards, you run into some gruesome remains where the corpses of bandits lie twisted on the ground, most killed by arrows. Many have lain in the open for weeks. A flock of startled Karen crows shriek from their feast as you race through their bodies. You turn away in disgust. Suddenly, a new sound drifts across the plain, the sound of cheering. What is that? Bewildered? Beleaguered defenders. The defenders have spotted you and recognized.
Is it the beleaguered?
Yes, I think that's it. Why? I think the last time I read this book, I had trouble with that word too. The beleaguered defenders. I'm assuming that means pressed. I've never seen that word before. That's why I don't know what it means. Have spotted you and recognized your green Kai cloak. 200 yards to go. You have just passed the ruins of the burnt-out cottage when you feel agonizing pain tear through your left thigh. An arrow has pierced your leg, and you pinch forward into the mud and ash. Crouched in the ruined cottage, a bandit sniper raises his bow and takes careful aim at your head.
Oh, good.
Pick a number. 0. Pick a number. 8, because it loves 8. A scream. I noticed that you haven't had to lose any endurance points, by the way. A scream of pain fills and terror fills the air. The sniper crashes to the ground as the jaws of a warhound clamp tightly around his neck. Wait, what? The other hounds are drawn by his ghastly screams, and he's soon ripped to pieces. You look up to see a man running towards you from the barricade. He has a shield in one hand and a longbow in the other. It is Captain Duvall. He reaches you, breathless from his run. The arrows...
I got your sword.
And draws an arrow from his quiver. The warhounds, tired of their victim, are in search of fresh sport and are turning their attention towards you. Duvall aims and fires, drawing another arrow as soon as his bow is empty. Warhounds tumble and crash to the ground around you, felled by Duvall's deadly shafts. The captain grabs you by the arm and swings you over his shoulder. But why? You're obviously sure you've got an arrow in your leg, but you haven't lost any points of endurance. Must not be that bad.
But I haven't gained any.
The captain grabs you by the arm and swings you over his shoulder with a swift movement before carrying you back to the barricade. Others run forward to help him, but the bandit archers are now in range and the men are forced back by a hail of arrows. The red shafts whiffle past on all sides. Finally, you reach the barricade. A wagon is pulled aside and you are carried through the open gap. Captain Duvall is close to exhaustion. He staggers and his men rush to catch him before he drops you to the ground. A circle of unshaven faces staring down at you. What? Are staring down at you. A soldier cradles your leg as another snaps the shaft buried deeply in your thigh, but before you can even cry out in pain, he has drawn the arrow from your leg with one swift tug. You are very lucky, Kai Lord, he says, as he bandages a handful of lamb's fur to your aching limb. The wound is clean and the bleeding is but slight. You lose 4 endurance points. But the soldier's quick thinking and skill has saved your leg from infection. With great care, the soldiers carry both you and Captain Duvall to the stone watchtower. Oh, now you're gaining points back.
Jesus Christ.
I was hoping the king would send a large search party, says Captain Duvall wearily, now having fully recovered from his exhaustion. I was beginning to tire of this town. You'd be like, he sent me. That's all you need, baby. You rise from your straw bed and offer your thanks to the captain. His brave and timely action has saved you from certain death. 'Tis nothing to compare with you, Lone Wolf. Your bravery is legend. Your presence here is worth 100 men. He asks you about your mission, and you recount the events that have led to you to this meeting. The ride south, the loss of your company, the passage through the Mackin mines, and the bandits. Yes, the bandits. Baraka's men, retorts Duvall, his gruff voice conveying his contempt for them and their leader.
I'm fighting Baraka?
Yeah?
Holy piss.
It seems we have both suffered at his hand. A month ago, he and his Vasagonian renegades ambushed my troop on the Ruinan Pike, and we were sorely outnumbered, and the fight was indeed bitter. But we broke free from them and escaped here to Ruinan. We have been beleaguered ever since and praying for help to arrive. We have enough weapons to resist them, but we have barely enough food and water to survive. You ask what has become of the people of Ruinan. Most are now slaves. Baraka has taken the mines and he uses the Ruinese as forced labor. Other than yourself, only one man has escaped from the mines and survived the warhounds and bandit snipers. That man is Baron Orin Vanelund. Come, I shall take you to him. Deval leads you to the topmost chamber of the watchtower and pushes open an iron-shod door. The sight that greets you fills your heart with sorrow and pity. Oren Vanelund is the 15th Baron of Uranon, a noble warrior of royal lineage, and 5th in succession for the throne of Summerlund. This once proud and chivalrous warlord now lies upon a cold stone floor of the chamber, red-eyed and whimpering like a frightened dog. He has lost everything, says Deval quietly. Baraka has destroyed his castle, his land, his town, and his family. His sons are dead, and his only daughter has been taken captive by Baraka himself. I fear the ordeal has turned his mind. And there's a picture of dead people, a crow, a house, and looks like a pretty bountiful harvest over there. Looks good. It's gonna be a good year. I can tell. The pathetic man raises his tear-stained face with a feeble voice, mutters a curious rhyme over and over again. On the when a fair royal maid on altar dies, the dead of Makengord shall arise. If you have a scroll, which you do.
I found the Elder Scroll.
As you unfurl the scroll and begin to read its ominous contents, the Baron struggles to his feet. Word for word, he echoes the prophetic verse. When the full moon shines o'er the temple deep, a sacrifice will stir from sleep the legions of the long-forgotten Lord. When a fair and royal maid on altar dies, the dead of Makengord shall arise to claim their long-awaited reward. It'd be funny if he's repeating and almost like, stop that. Stop that. Stop repeating me.
Dude, did you kick that guy's door down too?
Wait, does that mean I'm gonna go mad? You must save her, Lone Wolf. You must prevent the sacrifice. The Baron's voice is choked with emotion. Save who? Who must he save? Questions Captain Deval as he tries to calm the distressed Baron. My daughter, Madeline. Baraka has found the dagger of Vashna. He plans to sacrifice my daughter upon the altar of the Macken to release the undead of Makengorge.
Wait. I got something just for this.
Mm-hmm.
I have a pickaxe.
You do. You do have a pickaxe. That's nothing compared to the dagger of Vashna. I mean, the dagger of Vashna is nothing compared. You know what I mean. The Baron explains that during the age of the Black Moon, the Black Moon, King Unlar of Summerlund killed the mightiest of all the Dark Lords, Vashna, with the Summer Sword, the Sword of the Sun. His body and the bodies of all his soldiers were hurled into the bottomless abyss of the Makengorge. He plans to lead the dead to victory, first to conquer Summerlund, then all of the last lands, he says in despair. You stare at the Baron in stunned silence. If Baraka completes the sacrifice, all is lost. What mortal army can stand against a legion of the dead? I don't know, someone with a summer sword that has the power to burn things to ash? Maybe?
What if they raise people from the dead? I got nothing against that.
I definitely don't have anything that can fight that. Captain Deval ushers you from the chamber and closes the door. I feared he was insane, but your scroll confirms my worst nightmare. He speaks the truth. This thing? I just got this from a crazy old man. Whatever.
I think I stepped in a few spores on the way, but there's this old guy who appeared trying to scrawl. And then started murmuring to us. I tried to touch him, but my hand went straight through him.
As the dreadful significance of the verse begins to sink in, your thoughts are broken by a shrill blast of the war horn. Captain Deval strides over to the arrow slit and peers out across the plain. As he turns to speak, you notice that his face is ashen gray. The bandits, they're launching an attack. You have Captain Deval's sword.
I got you your sword.
I got you your sword. You draw the sword and offer it to the captain. A look of surprise and delight crosses his face as he examines the blade. I never expected to see my trusty steel again. It is a good omen for the battle ahead. I wish you could have brought me my men, but, you know.
Oh shit, 2 crows.
Thanking you, the captain sheaths his sword and scabbard until now has hung empty from his belt. Remember to erase the sword.
Okay.
Goodbye, sword.
Can't wait until he dies.
That's a great picture. Guy looks like he's having fun.
Yeah, he's smiling.
Yeah.
Sun's out.
He's showing teeth, right? Yeah.
Sun's out, having a good time as well.
I don't think that's the sun.
Looks like the sun.
I don't think that's the sun.
Well, the rest of the sky is definitely not this. That's the sun.
You follow Captain Duvall as he hurries down the broad watchtower steps and out of the barricade. A rolling sound like distant thunder fills the air. Cavalry are pouring out onto the plain from all sides, grouping up into battalions in preparation for the advance. Columns of foot soldiers in the bright scarlet armor march through their ranks, herding the frightened wall of people before them. "They are Ruinese," cries Duval, his hand shielding the light from his eyes. "That cur Baraka, he's using them as a shield!" All around you, the captain's men have drawn their bowstrings, awaiting his signal to fire, but it is an order he dare not give. Suddenly, a hidden catapult hurls a massive black rock through the air, straight towards the barricade. You stare in horror as it bursts into flame and disintegrates, showering a rain of blazing oil on everyone beneath. I told you that wasn't the sun. The soldiers...
That looks like the sun.
Yeah, the son of death. That was lame. I'm sorry.
I would even call it a dead sun.
The soldiers cannot evade the deluge, and many are badly burnt before the flames are smothered. A battle cry resounds from the enemy ranks, the signal to attack. The Ruinese are pushed aside and trampled by the onrush of scarlet warriors who now race towards the barricade. The blazing oil has scattered Duval's men, and the barricade is poorly defended. You hear Duval shout your name. His cloak and tunic are ablaze. He is screaming for your help. If you have reached the Chi rank of Warman, yes, so you go here.
I have.
You must rally the defenders or all is lost. You order 2 soldiers to help the captain, then leap on the overturned wagon in order to see clearly the enemy advance. They have already reached the ruined perimeter of the Ruinon, and now creeping forward under the cover of broken cottage walls. You shout orders to Duval's men to defend the barricade, but the enemy are less than 100 yards from the wall. You are afraid it might be too late to repel the attack.
Suddenly, the summer sword.
The Vesagonian bandits break cover and charge, and you give the order to fire. A cloud of arrows sweeps down upon the armor-clad men, the hardened tips penetrating their scarlet plate. The first wave of assailants tumbles and falls. The second wave falters. Another volley forces them back, and they retreat to the ruins to reorganize themselves. Here and there, groups of bandit warriors have survived the hail of death and reached the barricade. Most are slain as they try to enter, but a small and determined section of their boldest fighters have broken through close to where you stand. Suddenly, a thick-blooded warrior and oily black hair tied in a knot at the back of his scarred head leaps onto the wagon and attacks you.
It says you can evade combat anytime by jumping from the wagon. Fuck that, this is my wagon.
My wagon. And the summer sword agrees with me. The summer sword said this is his wagon. Uh-oh. I think he disagrees.
I don't care. Do you think I care?
He wants to contest. Oh, wow. He's actually doing pretty amazingly given given what's going on. Ah, never mind. He's dead now.
Why? I would have been at full life if you didn't freaking click the thing that made me not heal.
Yep.
The hell?
Wait, now you heal?
Yeah. Because
you weren't...
See, this is what I didn't want to do, was argue with the goddamn rules.
Sorry. It just made sense.
Nope.
Well, it's following the spirit of the health chart, because it said that you can't heal when in combat situations, and that was a combat situation. But, well, you know...
I feel like it's more of just like when you're in combat you don't heal instead of just like combat situation. Which
no, because the thing is,
be like anything.
The thing is, the power itself is that you concentrate to heal your body. You can't concentrate when you're dodging arrows and warhounds. It's not possible to do both. That's way too much multitasking.
Have you done Skyrim?
That's true.
I can do that in front of people swinging swords at my face.
That is true, but he's not the Dovahkiin.
Freaking other people can do that.
But what I'm saying is I was following the spirit of the skill. I mean, that rule is something that the author originally intended. It just wasn't something he could force you to do. So now the book does. Because here's the problem. The author wanted it to work that way, but without knowing what you would be facing, he had to just be brought about in a combat situation. And it was always up to the player what counted as a combat situation, because he couldn't really say this counts and that doesn't, and this does and that doesn't. So
he could just be like, healing works, healing doesn't work, as like a note at the bottom.
That's true, but no, because he didn't put notes at the bottom. All of these footnotes were not made by the author. They were made by people who read the books who figured these things out. So none of the footnotes that you see are made by the author. They are
I'm saying that he could do that.
He could. I agree, but he didn't.
If you wanted to make a system like that, that's where it would be.
I agree. It would have been very helpful. Duval runs past the wagon, leading a dozen of his best swordsmen in a countercharge and driving the enemy all the way back to the barricade. None escape alive. Those who survive Duval's swordsmen are cut down on the plain as his archers by his archers as they run towards the ruins. The shout of victory has barely died before you are faced with a new threat.
I hope it makes my wagon fly into the air so I can fight on my wagon against like a dragon or something.
That would be fantastic. With your summer sword on your overturned wagon. A manlet, a large shield on wheels, is being pushed slowly across the body-strewn battleground towards the barricade. Arrow shafts soon bristle from the thick wooden planks as Duval's men fire their bows time and time again in an attempt to hit the shielded foe. Suddenly, a robed figure darts from behind the mantelet and levers a black staff at the barricade. He is cut down by an arrow, but not before he has let loose from his staff a guttering ball of flame that cartwheels across the plain and explodes with a tremendous roar because summer sword? No? Okay.
Nope.
Maybe you weren't close enough.
Yeah, it probably had to be aimed at me so I could like.
Well, not quite true, because remember that frost of cold that was aimed at the bridge, but you were right next to it.
On it.
Yeah, so yeah.
Like unless it was aimed at the wagon, I don't.
So apparently, the summer sword is not magical magnet.
Yeah, no.
Let's see. Through the cloud of debris, dust and debris, you can see a line of enemy cavalry charging across the plain. They wear tall, plumed helmets of polished steel and breastplates of deepest crimson. In the wake of the fireball, they pour through the remains of the barricade and attack. They give no quarter. A horseman spurs his horse towards you, his lance leveled at your chest. You wish to stand and fight, or you wish to run?
Let's see. They're on horses. I'm not. I'm on a wagon. Let's fucking do
That's
this.
true. You are on a wagon. The horseman is charging at you very quickly. You will only be able to fight for one round of combat before the momentum carries him past you.
I will use my summer sword.
Do it! Do it!
Hopefully I can one-shot him.
That would be amazing.
Can't do that,
I don't think you can, no.
I have an 11.
Oh my god! You totally one-shotted him!
Yes! Yes!
Wow!
Bam!
Done! Beheaded the
Any
fool.
serve points.
Beheaded the fool. Too bad the book doesn't...
If your enemy loses more endurance points than you in this round, more like they die. Go ahead. See what happens.
Your horse has unhorsed the bandit into 3 separate pieces. He falls to the ground heavily, shattering his lance beneath him. He staggers to his feet. Oh my god!
I have this.
Wait, I've got a sword for that.
No.
Raising the hinged eye shield of his helm, he stares at you and smiles wickedly, exposing a jagged line of blackened teeth. He spits his battle cry and runs towards you, unsheathing a broadsword as he closes in. Do you wish to fight the warrior?
Fool, I am on a wagon. You cannot possibly defeat me.
I killed you! They don't mention, he does say that he raises his shield and he smiles at you. What they don't mention is that his head is actually hanging by a tatter of skin, so it's upside down when he does this.
Good thing my summer sword does extra damage against the undead.
Uh-huh. You are in combat with a Vasagonian undead horseman who is now on foot. You cannot evade him and must fight him to the death. By the way, just in case anyone's listening to the audiobook, it doesn't really say undead.
No.
It should, though. It totally should. I think you need to set him on fire this time just to make sure.
I use my summer sword with both of my hands.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Kimpachi. Done! You kill him again! Instant death again!
Just die already! You messed up and smiles again. This time without his teeth.
He's like one of those clowns that you just can't punch down no matter how hard you try.